Where were you?
I was on my honeymoon. I had
Wow.
gotten married 9 days earlier, and I was in Italy. Tim and I were in a little hill town in Florence and we were on a little tour. And I remember seeing that's us. Or I think it's the same day. I mean, I think that this was right before we had gotten the news. And I remember seeing my tour guide, who happened to be American, getting a call on her cell phone and then looking stricken, and she was pacing around, and I came out and said, "What, everything okay?" And she said, "A plane just flew into the World Trade Center." And like all of us, I thought, huh, well, that's a big screw up, you know? Like, I mean, I assumed it was a tourist plane or a helicopter that had gone off course, because our minds, our imaginations couldn't fathom what we were about to
And
experience.
were you stuck there in Italy for a while? Because obviously we remember there were no flights going anywhere for a time.
It was only a day. We were supposed to come back on the 17th. Our flight was delayed until the 18th. But for those next 72 hours, I remember them being some of the most free floating, overwhelming anxiety I've ever felt, because we were disconnected. We couldn't get cells out. We couldn't even get phone lines out. And not knowing if all of America was under attack, not knowing what was going to happen next, not knowing if our loved ones were safe, not knowing who we knew in the World Trade Center. It was really an intense time. And I just want to say, I will never forget the love of the Italians, at how they bathed us. I mean, they basically took Tim and me in. They were giving us water. They were giving us like cold compresses, and they were crying every banner in Florence outside storefronts. We stand with America. We love America. I'll never forget the goodwill and basically the bond that Italians showed us that time, during that whole era.
You talk about that uncertainty and just so much that we didn't know. I remember feeling that same way. And I was in New York that morning. I was getting ready for work and then went right to Rock Center. I was working at WNBC at the time, and my boss said, go down on the set with Chuck and Sue. This is in the month after, but at Ground Zero. But the day of, we were just on the air for hours, and we were trying, along with the rest of America, to figure out what has just transpired. And there, with Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons, we just talked for hours and tried to process what had just happened. Mark, where were you?
I was in downtown Newark, New Jersey that day.
Yeah.
At the time, I was teaching school, and you go in to start your day, and then all of a sudden, everything went terrible from that point on. The children at the time were
How
all
old were
watching
they?
television. They were in middle school,
Okay.
and they're just jaws dropped, shocked, wondering what's going to happen next. One of the children, actually, his father was a Newark police officer. He's wondering, is he going to go in? Is he going to have to deal with this? There's a part of Newark, New Jersey, Sacred Heart Cathedral. It's the highest point in the city. And after school is dismissed, many of us went outside the church, both to pray. And there's a straight shot where you can look into Manhattan and you see all the smoke and the fire. It was apocalyptic. But even worse, where I grew up, Staten Island, New York.
Oh, it took a huge hit, right?
It was terrible. I
Yeah.
went to a high school, Monsignor Parral High School in Staten Island, where many people worked as firefighters, police officers on Wall Street. 23 members of my high school, the alumni, died that day. And subsequently, many have died because of 9/11 related illnesses. It's just lingering on to this day.
We are going to visit with those who lived through 9/11 very directly and very personally.